Hi, I am Jose Silva and I'm an artist. Welcome to this digital space I've created to host my first virtual art show, showcasing my watercolor self-portrait series. I've been doing watercolors for about 5 years, focusing on portraits. I started painting pictures of myself, then my friends, then their friends, and it took off from there. I also do a lot of gay art. One of my most popular pieces, called Sweet Kiss, was selected by the company Condom One to be printed in their condom packages for one of their collections. I also do a lot of Florida art. I enjoy painting birds, and sometimes a mixture of birds and portraits. I do fan art too, of musicians, movies, and popular TV shows like Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead, who feature my portrait of Michonne in their after show, The Talking Dead. One thing that became really apparent to me as I developed my artistry is that I wanted my art to be really authentic to me and what I was going through. I started thinking about what authenticity means and the idea that we all, to some degree, tend to manipulate the way that we are perceived by others. And that was the motive behind this watercolor series. Each one has its own message, and together they tell a whole story. The first one of the series I created for the What's Your Elephant art and exhibit, put together by Niki Lopez. She's an amazing multimedia artist and activist. She's also interviewed me in her weekly video series, The Circle, Life with Niki Lopez, where she interviews creatives, artists, and entrepreneurs. I'll add those links below so you can find out more. Her What's Your Elephant art show is meant to address the elephant in the room, bringing awareness and opening conversations about unaddressed topics. I created masks of social media for this show. We use social media to connect to others, but how can we connect authentically when we're presenting a distorted and manipulated version of ourselves? So my elephant is all the things we try to cover up behind the mask of the selfie, even though those are the things that allow for authentic human connection. For the second piece of this collection, I wanted to get into the process of realizing your masks by going deep into your subconscious until you see yourself reflected back at you. The first piece had an element of technology. This one has an element of nature. The waterfall is meant to address the idea of cleansing and reflection. And the sequence of birds represents the freedom of leaving solid ground and flying off to the unknown. For me, this process of reflection and awareness and curiosity is the process of shedding masks. For the third and final piece, I wanted to express how all these masks and different versions of ourselves are all part of who we are. The shallow masks that we present to others, the emotions that we hide, and our inner higher self are all one. In the center, the emotional self exposes the heart. On the left, the shadow facade protects the heart. And our higher self, on the right, supports and lifts the heart. Not only are all these versions of ourselves part of who we are, but we're also all connected and together in this experience. Which is why this last piece is called We're All One. It also comes with a written companion that I'll share in the description. I really hope that you've enjoyed this virtual art show. It is the first of a series, so I would greatly appreciate any feedback, questions, or comments. And if you want to stay updated on my next show, make sure that you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.